2 minutes for people to come in.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah,
what?
yeah. So, yeah, I found out a lot of information from Lisa Renee about the violet flame holders, and they're being activated now. So that's why that you would have the violet flame coming up on your head, and we've got a lot of work to do.
It seems like that is coming into fruition. Like it seems like, excuse me. I mean, we heard through people like you, and so many others over the years, we're going to be put to work at some point. And
Yeah,
it feels like with everything that's coming, that's coming. Like
yeah,
that's here too. It doesn't even
yeah.
feel like things are coming. It feels like they're here.
Oh, yeah, they're here. They're absolutely. I mean, we've come away on holiday, and the things that have happened to me on this trip, I was sort of warned that I was going to be activated and I was going to be seeing things, and it's blown my mind.
Really.
And oh yeah, I'll go into more detail when everybody's here. But
Let's see.
wow,
Yeah,
wow,
we
wow,
got
wow.
5 in here. I think our notifications are being suppressed again, so it might take
Oh,
another minute. We're all right.
yep,
But this is
yep.
all part of the replay, and
I
yeah, most of the views are replay as well.
yeah,
Um,
yes,
but yeah, so I think what you're tapping into is what I'm seeing for myself, for Morgan, and for a lot of people that I'm, I guess, connected to. Just observing the energy, when I share posts in Soulogy and so on.
mhm,
And that is, things are really ramping up very quickly. And there are some things that are, let's say, were otherworldly that are kind of bleeding into our existence. Is this what you've experienced? Can you tell us what you experienced since you've gone on vacation?
wow. Okay, so it started off. I had we had we live not far from Morgan Lee. Actually, we're in the same state as Morgan, so we're probably 5 hour drive south. And we came back to where we were both born, my husband and I. When I say we, um, and when we were going to this special Central Highlands district. First of all, we went to put money in a meter as we went to get groceries to go up there because there's no shops. It's just a lot of snow and a lot of lakes and Lords of the Flame, which I'll get to. And there was a bee on my wrist. And while I was putting money in the meter, and I thought, oh, hello, I'm allergic to bees. Oh, but okay, hi. And I deep breathed, and I didn't want it to bite me, and it flew off. And I thought, well, that's a sign. We get to the B&B that we were staying in the Central Lakes, and my husband opens up the wood fire, and there's a starling stuck inside the wood box. So it's obviously been chased down through the flue, and I don't know how long the poor thing had been there. I don't know when the last visitors were there. But so I shut all the doors and let it out into the room, and then I threw a tea towel over it and let it go outside. And both of those things, I got a hit during the night. I just got a download. It's like the bee, you're putting money in a meter, you will soon be debt free. There'll be no more putting monies in meters. And the starling was almost similar because it was trapped due to its own silly doings, right? So its
Yes,
own
yes,
carelessness,
yes.
and it was set free from the firebox
Wow.
and put outside. And then, so the next morning, I'm sitting having a cup of tea next to the fire, and we get up early, like 5 a.m. And just as it was coming light, because it's getting on to winter in Australia now and it's lighter later, but there was a big stag deer looking at me through the window. I nearly spat out my tea. And we like eyeballed each other for like a couple of seconds. It was just like incredible.
Wow.
And so I looked up that for the totem animal, and it said enlightenment. A stag deer can mean, you're working towards enlightenment. So it was amazing. And then we were driving around, and I saw two craft that were cloaked. I think that I've had an Arcturian mothership parked above my house since before Christmas. And I keep on checking in. Are you still there? Yes, we are. And when they first told me that there's a mothership parked above your house, I thought, oh, Donna, oh God, you've made that up. Where did you get that from? And I was watching an Amy Satori video, and
Okay.
she's a scientist from America. And she said, and to that lady who lives in Queensland, who the Arcturian ship is parked above, you better believe it, baby. And I just like my jaw dropped. It's the first time I'd watched Amy. I watched it for a reason. It's just, the times are just amazing.
Yeah.
It's blowing me away.
Yes. And see, that's what I think is happening. More frequencies are coming in and they're correlating with each other, and it's happening really fast. And, but, the only time you have to affirm it or validate it is just to be in the present, and something will come to you and tell you and show you. You know what I mean? Whether it be you're reading a post that somebody just went through the same thing you did, or
Yes.
the bird or the bee. I mean, it's like full blown. And we were
Yeah.
talking earlier with David Manning, who's a really connected brother, and he was talking
Oh
about,
yes, yes, I know. Yes, I've sat in
yeah.
a couple of his calls, and it really like activated my kundalini. So yeah.
So, he was saying that he got called out into he meditates in his garden. He has a small garden. And he got called out there. And he said, I've never been like a proponent. I've been more of a skeptic when it comes to the solar flash or the event. He said, but I got to tell you, I went out there and I was shown in three waves, specifically May, June, and he feels like maybe September, where these waves come in. And again, not to get stuck on the linear timeline, just the energy behind it. Um,
Mhm.
how it would be, you know, revelational. Like it would be something everybody knows. Nobody has to discuss it. Nobody has to check the news to say, "Oh, did this just happen?" or "What's going?" You know what I mean? And that feels. And I'm like him. I was always a skeptic. Um, I'm always open to everything, but I thought, man, come on. I mean, how do we know what that looks like in literal terms? But there's something about what's going on now to
Yes.
me that feels very literal, like
Yes.
embodiment to the nth degree, not just within ourselves, which is where the focus has been, but what we experience together.
Yeah, you're right. And the help that's coming through with our galactic families and the synchronicities, it's just like way off the charts. And then when I saw you with your little V there, and I thought my husband and I in the Central Highlands, there's three rocks there with, and this is like ancient Aboriginal land, right? So this is really inhospitable country. And so it's not a touristy place. And these rocks have faces on them.
Yes.
They're about, I would say, about 10 meters tall. And there's three, but, and I tried to explore a little further around, which I think is a huge, big, like Aboriginal face too on a hillside. Um, but there was this great big black snake that hissed at me and warned me. So I thought, well, this might be a men's only area. And I know that, the Aboriginal men and women abide by that still. So I sort of the snake was so big, he had his half of his body out of his hole, out of his burrow. And he didn't even bother. He was so big, he didn't even bother to stick his face out to tell me to go away. He just hit
Yeah,
and I took off.
I would have too.
Yeah, yeah. But these Lords of the Flame, about 8 years ago, I started to be given all of these codes. And I saw fire letters on a building once that was covered in fog, but it looked like there were fire letters coming through. And I never knew what they were for. And most of these codes that I were given, they were numbers, and I could actually see them coming into my third eye, and I'd sort of go like that a little bit. And they're three numbers in each code, and most of them added up to number 13. So I kept a note of them as I was receiving them, and it happened like over a 12-month period. And that's what Lisa Renee said. She said the more that us amethyst order and violet flame holders, the more that we receive and expand our thinking to receive these codes and these fire letters, the more we become aligned with the galactic core, and the more we break down the AI matrix. So that, I would say, is our job.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is so much stuff to
I know.
unpack, but okay, I really, give a lot of acknowledgement to Lisa Renee's stuff. It's so in depth, and I realize that everybody is coming not only from their own perspective and their own teams and their own lineages, but also Lisa Renee, you, me, anyone that's, which we all are, a conduit to explain it. As soon as we open our mouth or start writing, it loses a little bit. So it's always, but the purity of it's always there in everything when it's a real expression. So I look at all that and it really resonates. And I see the differentiation of like what we might call AI from this perspective, like she's calling AI.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, even the AI part, like I think to myself, wait, we're all the same God substance. And if this energy is affecting me, it's affecting everything around me. And there seems to be something that I don't want to say if it's working or it's something new or both, but these inanimate and animated objects and energies and souls and such, everything outside of me is a collaborator. It feels like everything's working with me based on what I call to myself.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Yep.
Something like that.
Yeah. No, amazing. Absolutely amazing. And the work that we can do with the violet flame, I've been playing around with it the last couple of months. And I've had health issues all my life, and working with the violet flame the last couple of months, and things that have been there with me, like tummy problems and low immunity and things like that, they're all of a sudden, I'm thinking, I have more energy today. It's amazing. And the dreams that I'm having and the past lives that are coming up for me now that I've tried to bring up before and couldn't, like the answers to this and that, and why am I going through this and that. So I'd say this violet light, I think that if we learn to use it and play with it, the more we can see what it's going to do. I mean, literally. So another thing that Lisa Renee says is that in our skeletal structure, because of the crystalline matrix that's weaved in with our skeletal, with our bones, that's where the death code has been programmed into us. So I'm playing around with that now and just having like a little meditate every time I have like a 5 minutes a day. I'll send the violet flame up through my bone structure to cleanse old programming and to let the violet flame take hold and let our original blueprints come back into this program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. These methods that utilize what we call our imagination. I mean, I know that's not the right word, but
It's the
just to put
best
it
word.
right.
Yeah.
So these things are not just real or as real, they're more real. So I think that's another thing that's happening is people are tapping in to each other. Like you see David Manning on a video and your Kundalini starts to fire up.
Yeah.
This is all code exchange being done through atypical and non-conventional methods based on our past history. So there's a lot to be said for how fast the information is moving, how quick we are becoming aware at a conscious level, and even how quick we are embodying. And I think that's, really a big part of what's going on. So to be able to engage people in real time, like in a conversation, like, in a show like this, and talk about what's actually happening without trying to understand it, without trying to teach from it, just this is what's going on. And it's in the similarities that you find the alignment. Oh my God, I'm not the only one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not the only one. It's happening to me. So I don't know. There's something happening to the way that to everything, how we
Thank
live, how we process, how being present. I don't know about you.
you.
Has being
Yeah.
present become easier for you
Yes,
and
it really,
deeper for
that's
you?
what I've been working on,
Yeah.
like staying in the now. And it's only recently that I've really started, you know, it's, it's, it's a part of me now,
Yeah. Yeah. It's like even if you
it's just on
try,
auto.
yeah, it's like even if you try not to be present, you're being pushed back into being present.
Yeah. Yep. 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 Yep.
So,
And I'm the most impatient person on the planet Earth. And for me to be settling down and not getting frustrated when something doesn't happen right away, but my mind, my consciousness has expanded enough now to really become disciplined and to learn to wait because I know that the synchronicities now that are happening to me, say like something I wanted to know a week ago, I find out now during this conversation, right? So like I put out to the universe a week ago, I want to know something, and then Todd has the answer for me. And for me now to have the patience, whereas once upon a time I used to get, oh God, like I want to know now,
right,
patient. But now it doesn't bother me. It's like water
right.
off a duck. It's a beautiful feeling, and it makes you stronger within yourself because you have that strength of I know the answer's going to come to me.
Yeah.
I know I'm no useless little, like skin and bones structure that is useless. I know, and I've known this all my life. And what I've waited for is this now moment where I'm starting to become aware more and more and more of how goddamn powerful I am
Yeah.
and how you are and everybody.
To me, it's like uh, there's a uh, flavor, if it's not the frequency itself, but a flavor of the frequency or in the frequency that reeks of immortality. Like, and it has to do with time. So I'm like you. I can be very patient, and there's times when, like all of us, with the work we've done and the downloads we've gotten, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? So there's always that element. But you're right. There's this thing that's going on where I I don't know if I'm not allowing it to, but it's just not happening, which is the constraint or the pressure of the linear time. Like reuniting with Morgan. I just know we're going to. When it
Yeah.
happens is, sometimes it pops up, but most of the time I'm good. Like I know we're beyond just the lifeline of this physical incarnation. Everything's coming in and it's too mind blowing to understand. But um, yeah, it's like time has done some weird things, and I think
Hmm.
space is beginning to do some weird things. What we call
Yeah.
space or distance.
Yeah. And it's like whether time's collapsing or whether our belief in time is collapsing too, because last week or this week, if I wanted something before to happen last week, but it happens this week, it's of no consequence to me because I have things to get on with.
Yeah,
Whereas once upon a time, I'd just be sitting and waiting for that one thing I
yeah,
wanted to happen last week and not do anything else and just get caught up in what I'm wanting to achieve rather than, oh, look, I've got a whole heap more of things to get on with that'll keep me busy until that comes. It's just like a
yeah,
automatic thing with me now. So whether the time is collapsing or whether our programming of time has collapsed within us.
yeah. The deeper we get into this, I feel like and it's such a paradox. It's always a paradox. But like, here we are understanding we have certain belief systems, and we remove them. But at the end of the day, like the placebo effect, it's
Mhm.
it's about what we believe,
Mm.
and there's always that little piece that's unknown. Like you were saying, we want to know. Well, you're not going to know, and so I always end up at the same place, which is okay. Well, um, I don't know. I really don't know. I could be, like worm dirt when this is all over. I could be, just a one cell in a petri dish on a kindergartner's laboratory microscope and 17 planets away or something. I don't know. But how do I know or not know that the thoughts I carry forward are not what actually I experience? So I think
Mhm.
this is kind of where I think maybe we're hitting which is, you know what? What do we want? We don't have to go fight, fight, fight. It's all right here. It's a mind game. And
Yeah.
it's the perfect paradox because I can go over here in like COVID and, whatever, war, Ukraine, whatever the issues are. Or I can
Yeah.
say, that's not even real. What do I want? Right? Like
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
know. Just it seems like there's been like a reversal where we've been on our heels looking for shadow, looking for shadow. Not that we don't stop, but something's changed in the process. And part of that change is we're actually looking at, wow, how come every time we go through one of these cycles on the other end of it, no matter what happened in that 2 days, no matter how many times I wanted to like leave the planet, wow, what a shift.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And whatever God's plan is for me, even if I am soil beneath someone's feet, I'm so filled with
Yeah.
God's love at the moment.
Yeah.
I don't give a poop. If that's my job, that's my job.
Yeah, that's right.
No, like and and I think the purple flame has something to do with that too. I know I keep on harping on about that, but I'm so in love with the violet flame at the moment and its workings and all that it's doing for me, and finding out what we can use it for, to benefit other people too, and just by even being in other people's presence, is it could be releasing and the like Morgan, and seeing that YouTube of yours a couple of weeks ago, it's placing people in my path now that I would
Mm-hmm.
never ever have dreamt about. And
Yeah.
yeah, there's just one other big thing that happened before we come away on holidays. I was laying on our bed, um, meditating. I had the pillow behind. I was on my back, and I felt this big flop on the bed next to me. And I thought, bloody hell, Mr. E, I'm meditating, I was saying to myself in my mind. And straight away, this vision came to me. It wasn't my husband. It was a Sasquatch.
Oh my God, you didn't just say that, did you? I came this close to saying, as almost as a joke, but I knew it was a Sasquatch. I'm just telling you the truth. I wouldn't have no reason to say something like that. That's the truth.
Wow.
So
Wow.
keep going. Yeah.
Okay. So I had this vision. But like 7 years prior, I had taken some people around Byron Bay. We live probably an hour and a half from Byron Bay in Australia.
Okay.
And this couple were right into the Sasquatch. I'd never really looked into them before. I believed in them, yes. I didn't know anything about them. So we took them around, and she was saying like the brick arches that you see sometimes randomly that seems to, like just float in the air, that's being built out of nothing but rock, and it's an arch. She
Right.
said that can be Sasquatch sometimes. And then she gave me one of the Sasquatch's hair, and I put it in a plastic sandwich bag, and I've kept it all these years. But a couple of days after we said goodbye to them, I woke up one morning and there was a long black hair in my bathroom sink. And it looked like my own Sasquatch hair that the lady had given to me a few days before. And I thought, oh crap, how did that get in there? And because it wasn't me, I mean, I'm dark, my roots are dark, but not black. This was black. It was like a horse hair. It was quite thick, and it was more than one. So
You can't
I
make this
ran.
stuff up. You can't make it up.
No,
Mm.
no. Anyway, it was Sasquatch hair. And a couple of days after that, in the back of my car was this knocking something in the back. It just felt like it was a ball that was running across in the back of the car. And I said to my husband, oh my God, we've got to pull up and I've got to get that because it's driving me nuts. So we did. And it was a blue marble. And it's so funny because the lady a few days before said they also like to leave you messages or presents, and blue marble seems to be the thing. So, and then a friend of mine, a couple of years later, she said, oh, I've had a Sasquatch experience and it left me a blue marble. And I said, no way. And so we went and got ours. We were on a Zoom call and we held them both up at the same time, and they were exactly
Oh my
the
God. You can't make
same.
this shift up.
No. And then, so anyway, in the vision with the Sasquatch next to me, I saw myself pulling out Sasquatch hair. And I thought, what on earth? And then she had a little talk to me and she said, my name is Persini, but you can call me Percy for short. And she said that I would like for you to become sort of a spokesperson to get the word out that we're not big, scary monsters.
Right.
And we would like to come out of the shadows, but we need humans to, not to become afraid of us. And they call themselves elementals, she said.
Yes.
Which I never knew. And she said, make a frequency out of my hair. That's why I had a vision of me pulling the hair out. And I thought, oh, I've got the hair. So what I actually have is a music of the plants machine. So you hook this little machine up to plants, and it sends out, it turns the frequency into like music. So, and I had been playing around with that with crystals, and recording the crystal sounds and everything and putting up on my website. And so I knew to do that. So I wrapped the hair around. And I also put the clip as much as I could on the marble, and this beautiful frequency came out. And so I recorded it, and I have that up on my website too. I have them for sale, but they're only like $10 or $11 or something. So yeah, it's just amazing to have that frequency, and I want to actually record it on my phone and take it and just go on a picnic and have that playing so that the frequency.
See what happens.
Yeah.
See what comes in.
Yes.
I went to a conference. It was a friend of mine put a conference on in Sedona, and it was Native American oriented. Most of the speakers were indigenous, and this one guy, he got up, and you know how when people do light language, I mean, everybody, I respect everybody's light language. Some sound very similar, and some now and then sound very distinct. And this guy got up and he did Sasquatch, the elders, light language. And it was like everyone knew that was their language. Like there was no, yeah, it was very powerful. So we've had a lot of people on the show, obviously, over the years. And we've had some people that are very connected to Sasquatch come on and talk about different encounters. I've also exchanged messages with people over the years and or had conversations where they've had encounters. I've never come, and I don't know if this is means anything, but I've never encountered anyone who actually said I saw it, but they can all communicate. They understand. They leave signs. They different things, such as what you're talking about. One friend of mine, they had cookies out, and they ate the cookies, and they told them we ate the cookies. They're kind of funny. Like another friend of mine was telling me how she was out in the forest and one threw a rock at her. And again, she knew what it was, but she didn't actually physically see it. Or she could say, I definitely saw it. So there's something about they're part of our lineage. And why would all of these outer parts be so prominent in the last 10 years? And the elemental nature being kingdoms that are inner earth kingdoms don't come in. They're closest to us. So
Yeah.
everyone's talking about spaceships. What if we start seeing the elders coming around every corner? You know?
I can't wait. I just cannot wait. I mean, she told me, she said that when we get more aligned, I can interview her. Whether that actually means in person, whether she's going to show up on camera and I record it, or whether I just get downloads, I'm not sure. But she said, I'm not the only type. Sasquatch are not the only type. There are so many elementals out there that you know nothing about that really want to start coming forward now. So and animals from different planets.
I've heard that too. I've heard that from people too.
Yeah.
About the elementals. They feel closer too. Do you feel like you're very connected with elemental?
I wouldn't have thought so, but I feel very close to Pacini at the moment.
Do you feel like that? I mean, because to me, I'm like feeling into the energy of what you're talking about. It feels like, again, everyone has talked about spaceships landing, but to me, it's like these things that are right in front of our face that we're not looking at, that we're overlooking. No different than the things we overlook in ourselves because we were conditioned to look at what wasn't or what we compare to, but like it's weird. It's like they're right there. It's in the water. It's in the trees. It's in, it's everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
Animals.
Exactly right. Exactly right. I mean, when we were driving here the other day from the Central Highlands, so we've gone from the centre of Tasmania to the east coast, and I've never been through these areas before. And like every now and again, I would get this voice in my head say, "Oh, she's here. Welcome back." And I'm thinking, I said to Michael, "We've never been through here before." And he said, "No, no." So whether it's a long time past,
Right.
And it's like, around the Lords of the Flame the other day when I wrote under one of Morgan's posts about the crystalline city that I also, not crystalline castle that I saw. behind the Lords of the Flame, and it was just like magnificent. And they told me, I actually tuned into them when we got back to our little B&B, and
Right.
they said that it was they knew that the dark was coming, and like Michael and I knew that either there'd been a bomb set off there. It's just the way that all the, there's great big rocks everywhere. There's volcanic rocks there, and we can't find any history of any volcanoes. So I believe that to be true, that they had to take the Crystal Castle down to the subterranean level. And that's where they are, but they told me that they're going to be coming back up. And so they must have been a civilization
Absolutely.
that worshipped the violet flame or the violet flame carriers themselves.
Yeah. I mean, I like to watch Robert Sepper. He's an anthropologist. He makes a lot of videos. And then other ones I've seen over the last 10 years. There's a lot of suppressed history and records of what we would classify as giants. Okay.
Yep.
And even, and a lot of it's coming out more now due to his work and other people's work like him. We're talking like in the 1800s in off the coast of California. We're talking about all over the continental United States. I remember in talking to some of these people that had a connection with Sasquatch, where they went in depth to their understanding and their communications with the elders, and some of the things that they talked about was that they are definitely interdimensional beings. They have craft. They are considered like the first mammal, or I guess Homo sapien-esque type of species that walk the earth, and
Yeah.
that's why the Native Americans in America call them the elders. So this is a big piece of our history,
Yeah.
and how can we, if you look at these communities, I know you've been in them a long time. So much spoken about the Galactics, so
Yeah.
much talked about angelics and galactics. Not to take
Yeah.
anything away from the aspects that comprise us, but the elementals are right here.
I know, yes.
And not only are they part of the earth, they're multidimensional. They have their own monadic system. I remember being in Hawaii when Morgan and I were in Hawaii, and I went out by myself on the land near where we lived, and very clearly, what identified itself as an off-universe, interdimensional nature being presented itself. And you were saying this earlier,
Yeah.
how, I mean, we think it's just this world next to us that we're just about to see, but that world itself has all this other stuff as well. You know?
Been so blind, haven't we? We've been so blind and concentrating on everything that's out there and that you can touch, with our silly old, just our five senses, that we're missing a whole other adventure. Beautiful beings that imagine the knowledge, imagine what they know about this earth and the history, and it hopefully it hasn't been destroyed in them like it has been in us, but it's mind
So
blowing.
this is interesting. There's no coincidences. So I got you mixed up with someone else that I know, a dear sister, and I thought she was coming on. And last year, she sent me a picture, Morgan and I. And I won't go into any more detail because I really don't have permission, but I'm gonna share the picture with you. So this was taken at the end of my friend's driveway. Okay. And I would say like a semi-rural kind of environment. So let me just show it to you.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Not yet.
Oh, you might not be able to see it, but the audience should be able to see it.
Oh, okay. I can see it on the way
Yeah.
when I play the replay.
Yeah. So it was a figure they saw at the end of their road. Let me see if I can.
But when we were kids, how many things did you see that then you go to tell the adults about it? Oh, it's not real. You're being stupid. How many times has that happened?
Yep. So many times that you forget it's real.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what it boils down to. We actually think anything, don't let it be a figment of your imagination. Right? Like we have actually convinced ourselves.
Yep.
It's like anyone that has been in depth in a program of lying. You lie and you believe your own lie because you've heard it so many times. So I have a feeling we're in for a hell of a ride. And
I mean, I've even lied to myself,
we
I've
have.
lied to myself. I mean, I've had this veil over me that I just feel now. And imagine, like, Todd, imagine us sitting down and talking in 5 years' time when the energies are stronger, when we've done more work. I mean,
5
we're going to be
years.
saying, oh
Five
my God,
weeks. 5 weeks
oh
time.
wow, what's happening now and what we can do now. And
This is somewhere way beyond quantum and exponential.
yeah,
Imagine 5 weeks from now. Imagine, I think about some of these things in context, like 3 months and 6 months ago. Certain things that I might go through. Or, Morgan and I, of course, we talk every day and talk about the different things that we're experiencing. And I think to myself, I would not have been able to respond or hold space or not project or not break down, and fall apart or whatever 6 months ago on this
yeah,
particular situation or 3 months ago. But it's
yep,
moving so fast to me. It really, and I know it sounds like a cliche, but it feels like every day I wake up now, it is a new world. And the only thing that matters is where I left off, which is, wow, did I just get a download on teleportation? Did I just go through 3 hours of what seemed like a lucid dream, but I'm conscious and awake? Like, these
yeah,
are the things that stick with me, not the old stuff.
yeah, yeah. So our our brains are going to have to expand. We're going to have to expand to take in all this new information and the new elementals that are coming in with all their new information. We're going to have to start learning. You know what I really, really want to do?
Hmm.
And that is that I would love for Piscini to tell me the etiquette for dealing with the elementals. Do they sort of, does one like rule this mountain over there? Does another, and you've got to ask permission to go on the land to see if that you're in alignment with them. How many people go out for a walk and don't ever come back? Have they upset an elemental or
or,
other
ha- or
nature
have they
spirit?
des- or have they decided to stay where they're at?
Yeah, yes. Well, I can imagine
here,
that
here,
too. That,
here's another close up of that. Let me find it. Here it goes. Yeah, that's a pretty. That's a pretty interesting picture, no doubt.
I'll send you the Lords of the Flame photo that I've taken. I'll send it to you on Facebook or privately or
Please do, yeah.
somehow. But you
Uh,
need it. I think you need it. I mean, you're obviously a carrier of the flame, so and please share it with as many people as you like. And when I get a little braver and can walk past the snake or ask the snake for permission, I'll go around the other side hopefully, if I get permission, and take some more photos, because I know there was a big, like, Aboriginal, it's just, honestly, it was like a big bust on the side of the mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that
But
Judith Kuzel, she got called out onto the land in South Africa where she lives, and she's for about 2.5 weeks she was putting up all these pictures every day. So there'd be lions, zebras, giraffes, but the biggest part of the pictures were like pieces or parts of a monolith, like Easter Island, or what's the one in Ireland, but also the faces in the rocks.
yeah,
And I used to see this like um, one of those things where you go, "Am I really seeing that? I'm making this up." And it's always been like
yeah,
something like the trees and the rocks. But these pictures I was looking at that she was taking, I knew there was code coming in. Like I knew
yeah,
that they were more prominent. And
yeah.
so if the elementals are going to become more visible, why wouldn't the rock beings and the other nature beings also? It would only make
Start being
sense.
shown.
Yeah, it would only make
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. It really does make sense, because most of those codes that I was talking about was given to me before I actually found the Lords of the Flame in the Central Highlands. So, and it's just, that area is just magic. I mean, we've been there, going there probably once or twice a year now for the last 7 or 8 years. And I've woken up first thing in the morning and there's been angels singing in my head. So it's just magical. It's like and because there's a lot of fishermen that go to that area, and there's what's called a live fishing cam to see what the weather's like, that's up on the internet. And the beings and the crystalline forms that come down at a certain time of day on this internet fisherman's webcam, I've taken screenshots of them. They're just beautiful, beautiful beings.
Right.
And a lot of them are violet. Yeah, so I would say, I remember a while ago, a friend of mine, she deals with where the portals are, and she said, so there is a portal that comes up. It goes from Victoria on the mainland of Australia. It comes under Bass Strait, which is the water between the mainland Australia and Tasmania.
Okay.
So it goes under the water, this portal, and then it comes up in the Central Highlands. So I'd say it's quite a busy area. I just heard trades in my head. We used to trade a lot. They used to come through that portal, and there used to be a lot of trade happening there.
You mean like interstellar wise? Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. And with the elementals, and it's like trading information as well, not
Right.
just,
Right.
whatever they
I mean,
might be
that's
needing.
that's the real commodity is the code you carry, the
Information.
code I carry. Yeah. Are you? What about like this month? Like physically speaking, are you getting dizziness? I'm getting a lot of dizziness.
Yes,
Sleeping
yes,
for
yes.
ridiculous amounts of time, not sleeping, headaches, weird headaches, like pressure of that I've never felt before in my head or my skull. Are you getting anything like that?
Oh gosh, your purple thing is really lighting up now. So yes, your violet flame is really lit up there when you were talking about that. Yes, all of the above, especially the lightheadedness. I think, oh my gosh, I'm starting to get, a virus or something,
Yeah,
and I don't.
yeah.
So it's just all the symptoms of expansion.
I guess so. I look at it. There must be a parallel. If it's happening at this level, it's happening at let's say the incoming code level. And but like I had a little bout a couple of nights ago, and it lasted like 4 or 5 hours, and my
Yeah,
body took on really like the really strong symptoms of a flu, except for
yeah,
fever, no fever. But I was like, I could see it, I could feel it in my body, and I just knew. This has nothing to do with sickness or viruses. It just has to do with
Yeah.
your body trying to, assimilate whatever's coming in.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. Exactly. What was I going to say then? Something I've forgotten now.
That
Oh,
happens too.
yeah.
That happens too, doesn't it?
I was thinking it was old age. I turned 50 I turned 60 last August. And I just thought, oh, it must be an age thing. But yeah, the more I talk to people about it,
Well, I turned 60 this past December, so
yeah,
it's not an age thing, but yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
there.
yeah.
It's there.
I understand. Yeah, it might be that something is taking over, and no, that wasn't relevant. So just forget about it.
I'm finding that with certain exchanges, like now, and I don't know if it's this one or the day or the last three shows or what, but certain things they're like a download. They literally shake me, and it's all happening more and more at the same time. Receiving it, feeling it, acknowledging it, processing it, integrating it. It's like it's all like in one big massive dose.
Yep, it takes 2 seconds to download, but a couple of weeks to sort of unravel, doesn't it? It's like, I mean, that's what I was talking about before. Oh, I'm not going to worry about that, because I can't manifest that now. The answer to that, because I've got more information running around in here that I really want to try and sort out.
Yeah.
But I don't know about you, but how about and I think it's what's called the aqua lung. And I have to remind myself to breathe. Sometimes I get in this state, and the only reason I breathe is because I frighten myself and think, breathe, Donna. Because, the last time I can remember breathing was like, 2 minutes ago or something.
I don't know.
And that's been happening for a while. Yeah. But really, really happening the last couple of days where I've just thought, oh God, when was the last time I actually breathed? So, and Lisa Renee again actually calls it the activation of your aqua lungs. So we're attuning to, and of course, animals, animals that live for a long time slow their breathing right down. So is what being activated with me now? I don't know, but I know I have to. And because the only reason I do breathe is because I frighten myself. So as soon as I get rid of the fear, I mean, what am I going to be doing? Breathing twice an hour or something? It's
I don't know. I don't know.
crazy.
And it feels like there's, when they say there's many paths, uh,
Yeah,
not as a cliche, it actually feels like there's a whole bunch of different lineages and makeups. And there's on the surface, there's so much difference, but the reality, they're all the same thing, right? I mean, it's what might be good for you might not be good for me.
yeah,
It's like we've got to go into this self trust and not need validation, not need confirmation, just actually go, I got this.
yeah,
And that for me has been pretty loud like the last 10 days. And literally, what do you want to do right now? Of course, a lot of it's I need to lay down. I just need to like close my eyes and try to connect or maybe sleep. I mean, there's a
yeah,
lot of that. There's a lot of body awareness, like the heart palpitations or nervousness or what, like electrical kind of like impulses, and you're going, what's this? Or, am I okay? And you want to go into what's wrong with me, but going back to what you were saying, it's like just breathe. Just breathe.
mm,
I know it sounds
hmm,
boring and it sounds really basic, but it helps.
yeah,
It helps
yeah.
me.
And what you mentioned the nervous system, and that's another thing that we're figuring out is that our 12 cranial nerves were connected to the 12 original tribes and the Essenes. But that's why they massacred the Essenes, because then that cut off the the connection between our 12 cranial nerves and the ancient wisdom. And so that's why I think we have so much nervousness, and there's funny things going on with our nerves, because we're connecting once again to the 12 ancient tribes. So their energy's coming back online too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that resonates. I don't know. I mean, I look at things more energetically, but this whole thing with the Essenes, like whatever that energy represents, sacred union, divine masculine, divine feminine, so many things. Their whole makeup, according to that which has been written, 72,000 females, 72,000 males. The I guess like the concealment of the sacred wisdom, carrying it forward for the right time. I mean, all the different timelines. It makes you wonder if that was of a group that was born or lived 2,000 years ago. What came before that? Who were they,
Oh,
who were their teachers? Where did they come from? Were they
yep,
galactic? Were they?
yep, yep. We see we are now, I believe, we're the 13th tribe now, that magic number 13. So it's like we're not going back to the old. We're bringing the old in, but making it something new at the same time,
Yes.
because it's new times, it's new frequencies.
Yeah.
Even when the Essenes were here, we weren't getting all this beautiful energy coming in to help us as much now, because back then that's when the dark started to take over. So, they slowly cut it off and cut it off and cut it off. But now, with all the alignments and the solar eclipse tomorrow here in Australia.
Is it already
So,
tomorrow? That's right. It's already tomorrow. Yeah,
yeah,
it's time to plant some seeds, the seeds of our dreams. New moon.
yes, yep. Let go the old, let in the new. Start communing with the elementals.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our beautiful, beautiful families that have been under our nose, our friends and families that have been under our nose for millennia, and we don't even know them.
I've had
So
very
we have to add a few more branches to our family trees,
well,
probably.
and they're the closest ones. That's the whole point to
Yeah,
me.
yeah. And they would know us so well. And look, I just can't wait to tap in and start getting some information and getting the word out. Yeah. Showing other people how to do it too.
See, and somebody was talking about that, how these things are going to come into our visibility. And by virtue of seeing those things, we're going to have an instantaneous expansion of awareness, because we're going to be able to see the connectivity, like how we affect everything, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like if we, whatever, we can affect other kingdoms, we can affect other dimensions that are standing right next to us.
Yep. Yep.
I don't know. It's
We can
I,
go dimension hopping, probably. We can go planet hopping.
mm-hmm.
We can get in, we can activate our Merkabas and be on Jupiter or Venus, or, have a look around scary Mars, or it may not be scary once we find out the truth. So go to places that we haven't even heard of. Imagine. I mean, it's going to be that's why we have to expand our minds, because we cannot possibly take in all of that higher dimensional stuff without probably sending
No, it'd be
ourselves.
like taking a LSD every day. like
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, but the information and the understanding, and I guess the balance or the alignment is moving just as rapidly as the energy coming down. So
Yeah.
to me, it feels like these things that have been far out there, like, oh, I believe this can happen. I believe we can teleport in my lifetime, or I believe, this or that. To me, they seemed years and years out. I would get upset. People would say it's going to be 2035, it's going to be 2050. But to me, things feel very, very imminent. Like we're literally, because it's linear time, it really kind of creates a difficulty, but we're not in it. We're not coming to it. It's already here.
Oh
And
yeah,
it's
we
and
are. Yep.
it's we're swimming in it now.
Yep. Yep. That's why, and everybody's going to be different. Maybe some people don't wake up till 2035 or
Could
something,
be.
but that's not in my reality. It's,
Yeah.
I'm moving ahead now. So not on my timeline, baby. It's now.
Well, I think that the whole not in my reality is really important. Like
Yeah.
not to go, oh, I don't want to look at that. And if I don't look at it, it won't be there. Because that's really kind of a resistance. But to look at it and go,
Yeah.
I see that, I respect it, I honor it, I don't understand it all. That's not my reality.
Yep.
That's not going to be part of it. And it goes away. Like memories
Yep.
going away, which I think a lot
Yep.
of people can relate to that. Who were you 5 years ago? Who were you hanging around with? You know, do you remember? What does it feel like? What did you feel like then? What do you feel like now about those people? Does your family
Mhm.
still feel like it used to feel like family? Or has your
Oh,
definition of family become something different that involves the soul versus the blood?
yep.
There's so many things going on.
God, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. And it's so fantastic that we can actually, I mean, years ago, like I really started waking up when I was 21 and my mother had died. So that's nearly 40 years ago now. And Shirley MacLaine's book, Out on a Limb, fell out of this, you know, practically into my arms. And she was saying how lonely it was, and I thought, well, I'm not going to be talking about this. No way, no way. I couldn't talk about this to my family. And yes, I did, and a few things snuck out, and I've been called a voodoo drum banging witch, and
Welcome to the club.
by my family. So, and it felt lonely for such a long time. Who do I speak to? How can I tell somebody that doesn't have any idea what I'm talking about, what I dreamt about last night, ET contact, and it's just lonely. And I started shrinking and shrinking and shrinking myself, so that I didn't stand out. But now, not totally different, totally different.
We
I'm
couldn't.
okay with letting people go. I'm okay with letting new people in. And so thank God there's people out there like you and Morgan who get this word out so much, and we're coming together now and being able to talk about it.
Hmm. Well, I think that's the code. That's like the most effective code.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, um, passing out the code,
Yeah.
projecting the code. I mean, it's so weird because all these things that happen to us, these divine episodes, visitations, and so on, they've been helping us remember. They've been activating us, but it's this part that is like the purest because
Yeah.
we've experienced the same thing. All of us have experienced being a human being who knows they're a soul but can't quite put their finger on how all this stuff works, right? Whereas these other parts of us, they don't have that in common with us. So I think it's really important when people share these stories, talk about
Mm.
what happened and how they felt, and like what you said. So many people have said over the years in Soulogy, writing or commenting or on the shows. Until I found this place, I thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
Now I know I'm not crazy.
Yep.
Listening to people, normal people, talk about elementals and galactics and visitations and etc. etc. So
Yep.
important.
Yep.
And so,
Yep. It is. It really is. And to be able to actually live our authentic lives now, become ourselves who we truly are, is just such a momentous, special time after having lifetime after lifetime. I don't know how many, but sort of we had to hide.
Yeah,
We had
no
to
doubt.
hide our children. Yeah.
Not anymore. I don't
No.
think some of you could hide even if you wanted to at this point, especially the women. I don't think they're going to be sitting back. And the other thing is, too, like every time someone taps into that new of old, ability or skill or
Yeah.
whatever, it's the next person is going to be right there to do it, and then the next person. So
Yeah.
the reality itself, I could see changing extremely quick, and maybe that's an event in itself to be able to comprehend. How, you imagine everybody waking up to the same thing in their inner knowing around the world, and how that would change the world overnight. Just the
Wow.
power of the quantum thought alone.
Yes. Yep. Yep. I was watching something on YouTube yesterday, and this guy said that he got out of jail and he went to a Sadhguru meditation probably about 10 years ago. And there were 1,000 people at this conference, and he said we were all omming. And he said it blew him away. Just 1,000 people. Imagine if all of us came together. Imagine.
Well, think
We would
about
do.
yeah, think about the studies they've had on tones and colors, right? Frequencies, resonance. They talk about the pyramids, how they were actually built by hitting certain harmonic resonances, and and how the properties of being able to move, something that's 20 tons. I mean, what if we all come into a certain level um, at the same time, and something as simple as saying Om or making a certain sound, knowing what it can do, like instantly clear the atmosphere, or I mean, this it could change very quickly. I believe it will. I don't buy into this 5 years, 10 years, especially now after the last
Yeah,
month. I feel
yeah,
like things could change literally overnight,
yeah, yeah.
literally.
I really believe that too. I really do. Even if it's not happening on the outer, but something within me is changing too much. I mean,
Yeah.
the person that I was this morning is not the person that went to sleep last night either. I just feel different. I feel so confident in myself. I feel happy. I feel at peace, even though the world's going to shit. So, sometimes am I, what's going on here? Am I just, trying to ignore everything that's going on out there? Or is this how it is? You get to the stage where things are going to shit in your life, but it doesn't affect you. It
Right.
doesn't knock you
Right.
back on your backside.
Yeah, how can people at our age give up everything they have, jobs, relationships, get a caravan and drive around not knowing where they're going to go, not knowing how they're going to make money, and it's happening all over the world.
It
So,
is.
or by every measure of the universe handing us our ass on a platter with these energies, right? Every step of the way, it's better and better and better. It's like I feel better. Like something's not adding up based on the old math. I should be
Yep.
concerned. Where am I going to get my next meal? Or it's crazy, very crazy
It's that,
cool.
it's
Yeah.
that, yeah, it's that trusting, it's that gratitude, for everything that happens now. I just think, oh, what a beautiful bird, like it's like I'm really, really starting to feel them and trees. I sat down and channeled some information from It's a like
Oh,
great
oh.
big
I'm
oak
really,
tree.
really.
Really starting to feel them and oh,
I don't know what happened.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know what happened. Oh, they wanted to replay that bit. Maybe something wanted to be replayed. Yeah, but yeah, it's magic times. it's magic time. So I'm glad I stayed alive long enough to
Yeah.
get here.
Yeah. No doubt. No doubt. You know, it's such an honor to be here. Like
Yeah.
as many times as so many of us wanted to, so many times, get me the hell out of here. I'm done. Uh, this is huge. I don't
Yeah.
care what it looks like out there. I don't care about Ukraine. I don't care about all this stuff. I don't care about COVID. Something, and it's bigger than the Galactics. It's bigger than
Mm.
it's bigger because it's all part of it.
Mm.
So I don't know, but I'm excited. I'm a little bit tired. I've kind of had my full of you know, you wake up, you feel good, you know, you work a couple hours, and all of a sudden, boom. It's like you need to go
It's
lay down.
really like, um, yeah, I mean, it's really like becoming a child again, you know, like when there's a fair on or something and you go to it and you know that you was a bit excited last night, you hadn't slept, but you still want to go, go, go. Your little legs, you know, just want to get around and do everything. But then halfway during the day, if you're tired and you were a kid, you'd go to sleep wherever on, you know, like, and that's what it feels like now. That just that excitement, that something new, and it's so vulnerable that it hasn't formed yet. And yet, because you're in that childlike state, you trust.
Yeah,
It's,
that's right.
it's getting that trust.
I got this thing the other day, and it was like, I guess it was like a personal, right, download, like we all get, right? And it was like, you can have, no, it was more like all of you have shown 100% faith in the universe. And I'm like, come again? And they're like, think about where you're at. Think about what you're doing. Think about all the people that told you don't do it, you're crazy, and you're still listening to that voice that got you into this mess in the first place. And then I heard, you don't have to, you can have 100% faith in the universe and less than 100% love for yourself. And that the
Mm,
100% faith in the universe is your potential to love yourself.
mm,
So I don't know. For me, I just kind of like understood, like, okay, wait a minute. I'm never going to get there, but I can be here. And while I'm here in this present space, I can tap into all of the there that I've achieved. In other words, all of the love that I've achieved for myself, I can hold on to that without going back into these old loops, which I know aren't true anymore, which, you know, basically lower my self respect, my self love.
mm, mhm. And in the last week, I've had very similar things, very similar thoughts, and I'm not that person that I was last week because I became aware of something that
Yeah.
it wasn't anybody else holding me back.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
It was my thoughts about myself that were
Yeah.
holding certain things back. And it just dawned on me. It's not out there, Donna. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not waiting for the universe to give me permission. It was me. It was thought patterns and beliefs that, you know, that you shouldn't be doing that. And I thought I had worked through a lot, but this thing, and it was that sort of last little puzzle piece, like and I know this is not the bliss that you know, enlightened masters speak about, but I'm certainly been blissful for the last week, and it's been
Yeah. Well, there's
fantastic.
something about you get to a certain point that you're talking about and you realize what it was. And you realize it has nothing to do, I don't care who it is, with anyone else.
Yeah.
And when you get to that point, you go, well, then I don't need to talk about it. I don't need to go tell anybody about it. I don't need to discuss it. I can, but what's the point? Because it was all part of a whole different system or paradigm or belief system or experience. It's a totally different. It doesn't come with us now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Yeah.
it's mind blowing, and it's numbing, and it's a bit depleting, and it's exciting, and even ecstatic. And all I can say is, and the body's fully online now.
Yeah.
So to me, like whatever's going on, oh, I'm going to get this done today. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. The body will come in and go, you're not doing nothing.
Yeah.
That's how I feel right now. That's how I felt for the last hour.
Yeah.
It,
Wow.
it's like
Wow.
it's like it's just waiting. Okay, as soon
Yes.
as you get a break, boom. You know,
Yep. 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 Yep.
it's crazy.
Wow.
Well,
Yep.
it
Yep.
was a pleasure meeting you. I would love to collaborate with you again later in the year.
Sure.
Thank you so much for the time and sharing space with us, and honoring us with your presence.
Gosh, thank you. It's
No,
an honor. Thank you very much, Todd. Thank you, Morgan, when you see this, if you do. Love you.